Well, hello. I'm so glad that you've chosen to stick with me. If you don't feel like you're ready for the next part of this process, please feel free to just take your time and come back anytime you want to. This is not a race. It's not meant to be rushed. It's a holy moment, a moment that's designed just for you. Remember the story or the truth about the caterpillar? It weaves its cocoon around it, and that hardened shell keeps it safe for a period of time. And yes, it sits in darkness during that time. But if that process is disrupted, then the dream and the transformation will be disabled, and it won't be seen to fruition. And it's the same thing with us. If your dream it's like if you put it out there too quickly and you don't take the time to just really go through the correct process for the transformation, then it's almost like it's going to be crippled. And you don't want a crippled dream. You don't want a crippled transformation. You want to completely clear and grow from the inside out. And this can be a multifaceted process. You can go through this process many, many, many times in this lifetime. And that's okay. That's what we're meant to do. So take this moment for yourself. It's a holy moment. For some reason, we get this idea when we get caught up in life that we're supposed to be a sacrifice for everyone else, and every part of us is given to other people. This person needs us and that person needs us, and we're giving to our friends and family and colleagues and you name it. And the hard part is if we don't assess what we're doing ahead of time, there might not be anything left for us. And we deserve to have that. For some reason, when we make a decision to live a life of spirituality, or even for some people, religion, we tend to think that we're supposed to be of service, meaning servitude, and give up all of us to everyone else. To be of service is not to be of servitude. We're not meant to be a sacrifice. And in fact, if you can't develop everything that you need from the inside out first, or if you don't choose to, then you don't have everything that you need to give to others. The miracle about going through inner reflection in this type of transformation is it grows you so much that you end up having enough for everyone and yourself. So take this as a holy moment. Take the time for yourself. You deserve it, and everyone around you deserves it for themselves as well. So let's just sit back for just a few moments and take a few nice, slow, deep breaths. And just close your eyes and allow yourself to just wander, and just kind of allow your mind to go to that place where you see a beautiful sun beginning to set over the horizon across the end of the ocean. And you've got to get through some sand to get to the end of the ocean, don't you? So take my hand and just breathe normally. Now, we have to take off our shoes, right? There's nothing worse than going across the beach and getting sand in your shoes. So let's take our shoes off and just dig our toes into the sand. And we're going to walk all the way to the water's edge. Isn't it a beautiful night? You can feel the wind just starting to pick up as the sun begins to set, and realize this is going to be a multifaceted walk, just like transformation is. But in this part, as we're walking together across the sand to the edge of the water, we realize that the sand is sloughing off the bottoms of our feet. And as we get to the water's edge, it feels so good to just be in that beautiful water that's just rushing up and wraps around our ankles, and then it decides to go back down, and we feel the sand being pushed with it, with the water, and you can feel it digging up underneath your feet, can't you? And it has all of the symbolism of taking away the rough spots in life, doesn't it? If you really think about it, it's sloughing off everything that's rough, and the water is working with it, with the sand, in order to make everything smooth. Without the water and the sand together and the force of the energy, that smoothness can't happen to the sand or even to the end of the coast. You know how the coastline is formed by the water, or where it used to be? Well, it's taken a transformation, so now there's more sand there. And the idea of this facet of the walk on the beach with me is to make room for some more transformation to take place. This is like the initial step where some of the roughness is sloughed off the bottom of your feet. And let this be symbolic of being, some of the roughness is being sloughed off of your soul, or the edge of your soul, you know, where the water begins to rush in to your center. Let's just visualize that for just a moment. The water, the ocean, begins to rush in right into the center of your being, where we call the solar plexus. And it's just right up there above the belly button. And what it's doing as it draws itself in and then out, it's sloughing off some of the rough areas inside of you. So let this kind of come together with your breathing, if you don't mind. And you can just stick with my hand, hold my hand, and let's just breathe it in. And as you breathe it in, visualize the ocean coming into the center of your being. And it just gently reaches the end or the edge, and it begins to flow out with every out breath. Okay? So once again, let's see the water rush in. And then with the out breath, watch the water flow back out. And every single time with your intention, I am releasing all of the hardness inside of me out into the ocean and the expanse of the ocean, all the rough spots, everything that's wrapped around my soul like a cocoon. I am declaring it is time. This is a holy moment where the ocean can cleanse me and begin to chip away at that hard core, that hard area inside of me, and allow it to just be a rhythm in and out as the sun begins to set. With all of it, let yourself release. This is the important part, and it might not happen at this very moment while you're listening to my voice, while we're joined together. It might happen at a moment where you're alone and you close your eyes and you watch the water come into your solar plexus area, and as it recedes, it's chipping off the hardness and the difficulty and all of those areas that you have protected for so very, very long. They've had to be, because they've been tender and they've hurt, and they might be hurts that happened a long time ago, but you're not aware of them because this hard shell is still wrapped around it, isn't it? So this is the moment. This is your time. Let it be a moment where you completely have your intention set to release some of that hard exterior on the inside. That cocoon can begin to be sloughed off. Now, when the ocean comes into your solar plexus, ocean water has salt, and salt is very healing. Now, you throw salt into a wound, what's going to happen? It's going to burn, isn't it? So this process, in order for it to be healing, it needs to be a slow process, a slowed down process. It can't be rushed. It's not something you're going to just splash an ocean onto yourself and then all of a sudden, boom, it's like ripping off a Band-Aid. And all of a sudden you think you're healed. It's just not going to work that way. If you want it to really be the holy moment that it is, you take the time. You allow yourself the time. Allow yourself the breath. You allow yourself the visualization of the ocean waters coming into you and receding with its healing power and its healing properties of the salt that comes in with the water, and just everything that you've determined. Hopefully you've made a list of things that you just don't want to have in your life anymore, or you don't want to be anymore, or you don't want to have encumber you anymore. And if you have that list with each one of those things, imagine and do this process. Imagine that the ocean waters are beginning to slough off some of the dry parts and some of the hard parts, just like the sand does with our feet at the edge of the ocean. Now, I know because this process is a process, this is just the beginning. This is one walk we've taken together, and it's only from approaching the sand and going to the water's edge. The sunset hasn't completed yet. It's just a moment in time, just a breath. But that breath can be a pretty long breath, can't it? Take as long as you need to take. And hopefully, as you go through your process, you will join me again in the next segment where we go into part 3, and you will meet me for the second time at the edge of the ocean as we begin to go for a walk at sunset on the beach. Until then, I wish you as many blessings as your heart and soul can even handle. I wish you a process that helps you so much that when you are healed and when you get to the point of full transformation and you start to step into the dream, it'll be such a time of personal celebration and a time of celebration with others as well, because your journey's not meant to be alone. Your journey is meant to be shared. Until the next time, until you are ready to take my hand and go for the next part of our walk, I just say God bless you. I am loving you from here, and namaste in your process.